Okay, so we started something the last time that we didn't finish. We're gonna finish talking about dictionaries today. So the topic was a continuation of the introduction to basic data types and operations, right? So we covered the main types here that we have. And we started talking about the sets and mapping types. And there's one thing that these two groups of types have in common. Do you remember what it was? Sorry? It's not an answer? It's okay. Do you remember what is common? Yes. They need hashable objects to be part of them. So the set, any element that goes within the set must be a hashable object. Okay. The dictionary also needs a hashable object to be part of the key. Now the value doesn't have to be a hashable object. The value can be anything, but the key must be hashable object. Why is that? Because the key is something that is used to find the value. So the key is used as an index, right? And the hashable, the hash code or the hash sum is used as an index. So it reduces the search complexity into a constant time. Okay. Just before I forget, if you go to the OWL site, I posted some links for exercises for those who wanted, and I wanted to emphasize something important. So if you go to the content page, now you see I added a section here for tutorials and exercises. So the first two ones are like introductory tutorials, so good for starting to learn. And then later on, we just need to cover a few topics before we can go to these ones. Once we talk about objects and classes and functions, you should be able to work with these. Now, this one in particular has some real interview questions, so it's good for you to build up your portfolio there. So lead code, and a lot of the questions they are solvable using a hash table. Okay, so if you remember when we talked about what is the value of having a hash, is to use it to reduce the search complexity. Okay, now we will see how the dictionary can be used as a hash table. Okay, so a table of information that can be indexed with a hashed value. Okay, a lot of like there's a whole category of problems in lead code that can be solved with the concept of the hash table. Okay, well, maybe you can start at least working with some of the problems there with your knowledge of Java, and then you can compare it to how it would be solved in Python once we cover the topics. Also, HackerRank, yes.
I have a question about the lab. The lab we have to do the second one. What was the error in it?
So we can talk about that later. So the problem in the lab is just there's the encoding and reading the text. So it gives a different value on a local run than the value that is generated by the autograder when the autograder runs your code. So if you just replace I'll talk about that later. Okay. So HackerRank is also one of the platforms that are used by companies to look into your performance. So it's good for you to start building your portfolio there. Okay, and they have some introductory problems as well. You can start off with the Python or with what you know about Java. Okay. Now for the lab, if you downloaded the lab before Sunday at 7:30, or if you cloned the lab before Sunday, you may need to replace your text file with a file I sent in an announcement here. Okay, it's just there's one character that was encoded differently on the machine that runs the autograder. I just replaced that character so that it would be consistent. Okay, and the expected special characters is now 60. Okay, not 63, not 61, just 60. If you clone the repository after Sunday 7:30, you should get the updated version. Okay, so now let's continue talking about the second category that we talked about. So last time we covered the set category. So we have two types under this category. There is a set and the frozen set. And what is the difference between the two? What is the difference between the set and the frozen set? Yes? Yeah, so set is mutable, so therefore unhashable. The frozen set is immutable, therefore hashable. So we can use the frozen set as a key in a dictionary or as a part of another set. All right, so now let's talk about the dictionary. We kind of started talking about how would the dictionary look like. So it would look like this. If you know JavaScript, it looks like the object of the JavaScript object, but it's not exactly the same concept. It behaves similarly, but it's not exactly the same concept. So we just have to have two value pairs separated by commas. So key value pairs separated by commas. Now the separator between the key and the value is a comma. And that's how we distinguish between a set and a dictionary, because both of them have the same brackets, okay, curly brackets. But what's inside? If you have a key value pair separated by commas, then you have a dictionary. If you have this element separated by commas, then it's a set. Okay. Now we are pretty used to how we use the number or an index as a key. But now with the concept of the dictionary, we can use any value as a key. Any object whatsoever can be used as a key, as long as it is hashable. Okay, so a string can be used as a key like this. Now the opposite, if we tried to use a string as a key to as list, it's not a problem because the string itself is hashable, so it can be part of the key and it gives us access to the value. But if we want to do the opposite, if we want to use the list as the key, then we would run into problems. But the question is, why would we want to use a list as a key? Why would we want to do that? I mean, the case of using an index as a key, like a number as a key, is common, right? Even when you have a string, so if you have something like this, a string to list map. So I'm going to create a dictionary, so curly brackets. Now we have odd. Something weird there. Okay. So I want to use a string as a key to find the odd numbers. And another string, so let's say even, as the key to find the even numbers. Can you think of a case in which you would want to do that? You want to use a string. So if I want to access the list of odd numbers, I can use the string as the index. So you see, remember the square brackets we used for indexing, right? Now we can use it to and give it the key, which is in that case a string, and the result would be the value associated to it. Yes. The number of what? If we have a number of a number between 1 and 6, and you want to know whether it's odd or even. From the dictionary. Okay, then you will have to, you don't have a range, you have a specific number, right? Like 4. So, okay, this is 2 questions, whether it's in the first value, first list, or whether it's in the second list, right? So we can just use the n operator. So let's say for n. So let me just, so this will give me the list, right? So I want to ask whether 4 in that list. Is that what you're asking? Now, if I want to ask whether 4 is in the other list, so I can use the other key, and that should give me true.